Hello and welcome to another episode on Maritime Radar. Innovation and digitalization is pushing the maritime industry beyond its traditional limits and is providing many new opportunities that enhances productivity, efficiency, sustainability of shipping and logistics. Vessel designs to surveillance framework from coastlines and inland waterways, fishing, recreational craft operations, oil bunkering and sea exploration to shipbuilding and maintenance. Custom processes, automation and artificial intelligence. The shipping sector, like every other sector, has evolved, repositioning Africa's maritime industry towards economic growth and sustainability are some of the issues that will be on the front burner on today's show. I'm Nneoma Obi-Asualo. A successful digital transformation in the maritime space requires sustained political commitment, adequate regulation, effective collaboration between the public and private sectors, along with a concerted effort on education and skills training. Through complete vessel autonomy may be an ideological fantasy that may not come to fruition anytime soon. There are lots of trailblazing technology to be excited about right now. Digital solutions that can make today's shipping greener and safer, crews more efficient, and the global supply chain much more fluid and efficient. They are only not a cost-effective and straightforward way to implement next-gen tech, but also a more practical way to ramp up for the future generation. But before we get further into today's lineup on the program, let's find out the latest in maritime news.
The Norwegian government has commended Nigeria for its leading role in ensuring safety and security in the Gulf of Guinea. Norway's Foreign Affairs Minister Anniken Huitfeldt, who led a delegation from Norway including ship owners and the Norwegian ambassador to Nigeria, Leng Knott, said the Gulf of Guinea is key to global shipping. He noted that they came with ship owners from Norway to explore ways of collaboration to deepen the relationship between both countries, particularly in the area of capacity development. NEMASA's Director General Bashir Jimo assured the Norwegian delegation that the agency, in collaboration with others, particularly the Nigerian Navy, will deepen regional collaboration to sustain the momentum of improved security in the region. CMA-CGM has announced that a container terminal in Douala Port has imposed restrictions on the discharge of reefer boxes due to ongoing congestion in Cameroon's ports. According to the terminal's restrictions, containers can be discharged from vessels only if a delivery under tackle is ensured. Additionally, containers idling at the terminal must be evacuated. CMA-CGM has therefore decided to stop accepting new reefer bookings to Douala until further notice. The French carrier referenced its bill of lading terms and conditions, which give it the right to discharge cargo in alternative ports of Kirby. It also noted that haulage to the final destination will be on the receiver's account. The International Transport Workers Federation (ITF) has assured the release of 13 Filipino seafarers who were stranded for over 5 months aboard an abandoned livestock carrier. The repatriation marks the end of a months-long saga involving one shady owner and 2 detained vessels in Singapore and Australia. The Yangtze Harmony and its crew were abandoned in Singapore following the arrest of the vessel over an unpaid fuel bill in October of 2022. The owner also stopped payment to the crew, who by April were owed $429,972. Upon inspection, the ITF found that the ship's Hong Kong-based owner, Seoul Harmony Shipping Limited, had a history of abandoning crew and violating safety and crew welfare rules, and discovered that the company had abandoned another vessel, the Yangtze Fortune, along with its crew in Australia at the same time. Between the two ships, the ITF's advocacy efforts have now secured the release of all 43 seafarers from both vessels, while also recovering $1 million in back pay and flight home. A study on the readiness and availability of low and zero carbon ship technology and marine fuels, commissioned by the International Maritime Organization under its Future Fuels and Technology for Low and Zero Carbon Shipping project, has been submitted to the Marine Environment Protection Committee. Among the key findings, the study suggests that achieving a more ambitious decarbonization pathway than business as usual is feasible, with a strengthened level of ambition and implementation of further GHG reduction measures. This is the first phase of the project, launched in September of 2022, and provides technical analysis to the IMO in support of policy discussions held in the committee and its subsidiary bodies.
If you're just joining us, this is Maritime Radar. Over the years, advances in technology have dramatically improved marine navigation, communication, shipping efficiency, and safety. On the show today, we will be exploring some of the ways in which technology is shaping the future of the shipping industry. I spoke to Eunice Ezeoke, a maritime consultant and the president, Women's International Shipping and Trading Association, WISTA. Stay with us. It's good to have you on the show.
Thank you very much.
The sudden global outbreak of COVID-19 brought with it uncertainties, and the shipping industry was not spared. So take us through the need for technology, innovation, and digitalization, and the impact it will have for a sustainable shipping industry.
Thank you very much. The COVID-19 pandemic that happened in 2019 and 20 was a jolt in the industry. It took everybody unawares. However, the shipping industry rose up to the occasion and were able to make adjustments quickly to combat, to withstand, and to adjust and adapt to the suddenness of that outbreak. And as a result of that, a lot of technologies in the industry were harnessed, developed, and they are still even building new technologies so that in the future, if such outbreak occurs again, the industry will be in a better position to cope and handle it. And I must say that the industry generally coped better, even though the seafarers were the worst hit, because they could not, there was no crew change, and people, the seafarers, they left their homes, and some of them as long as 6 months, they were in the high seas. But generally, the shipping industry, ships kept moving, the ports were opened, and the operations kept going on. Medications, vital palliatives were able to be distributed and carried from coast to coast, from country to country, and life basically went on, even though in a very basic way.
Okay, what are the technologies that we need now, or that were introduced, that will ensure efficiency in the shipping industry, that will cut cost and will improve safety?
Okay, in the field of technology and shipping, since technology is really moving fast in the shipping industry. For instance, one of the major changes is that everything is going smart.
Okay.
These days we have smartphones, smart TV, smart ports, smart homes, smart cities, and now we have smart ships. And these smart ships, they are highly automated.
Okay.
They are highly automated, and they are virtual vessels. Okay. They move without any crew. Okay. They are self-propelled, battery-propelled, zero emission of green gas. Okay. And they carry as many as TEUs, up to 15 to 20,000. And the first of that vessel was launched in 2020. Yona Beckingsley in Norway in 2020. It's fully autonomous vessel, and it's very efficient and timely. It saves cost, saves crew crew cost, saves maintenance, and very highly efficient. So that is where shipping is going now. In addition to smart ships, we also have robotics. For instance, in robotics, in vessels that apply robotic technology, they clean the hull, service the ship hull of the vessel, and also fight fires. You know, when fire breaks out in a ship, the damage is extensive, and the losses, there can even be crew loss, human loss, and the damage and loss to cargo and the infrastructure of the vessel. But when robots are applied, these robots are created and manufactured to fight the fires. They even have the ability to go to the places where human beings cannot reach, and the smoke does not affect them. And for instance, in US, the Naval Ship Lab, they built such robots. And they also, the University of Institute of Technology in Virginia, they also collaborated, and they manufactured these robots, and they are being tested as we're talking. And before long, they start employing them in the vessels, even though it will also affect the profession of the seafarers.
Yes. So that means they have to take them through training to be able to adapt to this new technology.
Yes, adapt to it, and they may not need as many crew as they are doing now. Wow. You understand? So because robots will now be doing most of the activities that were hitherto being done by crewmen.
So looking at the good things that the technology brings, it's also going to reduce workforce.
Of course.
Okay, so coming back home to Africa, what is the conversations we should be having around this technology that is being introduced into the industry?
Very good question.
You can also talk about Nigeria too, back home.
In Africa, for instance, in Nigeria, in my opinion, universities should be collaborating with the government, with companies, corporate bodies, to go into research, to go into developing how is Africa going to be on the same page with the international world, with the international shipping world, because we are being left behind. I feel there should be serious conversation and synergy between research institutes, universities. Researches should be sponsored. I don't see why we should have universities that are bringing out mechanical engineers, robotic engineers, electronic engineers, and we have not faced the challenge. How do we meet up with what is going on in the world, technology-wise, in the maritime industry? I feel and I believe that the university should partner with government and corporate organizations in abroad, outside Nigeria, outside Africa, and Europe and Americas. Corporate bodies sponsor research. They discuss with researchers and professors and the university and the academics. They discuss with the academia and say, this is what we need. How do we make this to be this way? It is up to the academic world to now start finding a way to to solve that particular problem that is existing.
But do you think we're having these conversations?
I don't think so.
But that will be after this short break. Stay with us.
New Central TV, Africa's #1 storyteller, has come with the best of both worlds. With a combination of news app and live TV, we ensure that you keep track of the latest headlines, breaking news, and in-depth analysis from professional journalists from around the continent. Download the New Central TV app on Android and iOS and get started today. Don't forget to follow us on New Central's social media platforms. New Central, Africa First.
If you are just joining us, this is Maritime Radio, and I still have with me Eunice, Ezeoke. Before we went on that short break, you were talking about what we should be doing in Africa to embrace this technology. So I now asked, what is the conversation that we should be having now? Or what is the solution that you are profiling?
Corporate bodies, shipping companies, insurance companies, banks, and other companies that are involved in the maritime should be having serious conversation, stakeholder conversation with the universities, the academia, where we have higher learning institutions, colleges of technology, and then we identify those areas of challenges we are having in ship management. Nigeria has been included in the shipping countries. Then some African countries as well. We should be having a serious conversation with the research institutes to find a way to develop smart ports, smart ships, and smart cities. We should not overlook that the way the climate is going, eventually Lagos and some coastal states may be submerged based on what is going on around the world in terms of climate change. So we should be thinking smart. Smart ships, smart ports. Where are those areas that we are having challenges and that we are not meeting up with the outside world?
This conversation, is this among the stakeholders or government?
I don't believe government should do anything. In fact, government is mostly involved in areas that they really don't have business involving with. For instance, in port management, government really have little or nothing to do with it. In some ports outside Africa, outside Nigeria, government is not involved. Like Dublin Port Company, it is independent, not owned by government, not owned by any one person. It is on its own, like a company. Government should really not be totally involved, but they have to give approvals to some of the researches, to some of the findings, and also assist in acquiring equipment that are needed to achieve this technology.
So aside from technology, how can Africa position or benefit from the shipping industry?
First and foremost, they must come together. The African Continental Free Trade Agreement has to be effectively pursued and harnessed. The potentialities in Africa is huge, and for Africa to move forward, they must come together, remove all the bottlenecks that are involved in intercontinental trade within Africa. When they remove these bottlenecks, introduce free trade, free movement, it will help, and it will send a message to the Europeans, the EU, Americas, that Africa, in main business, Africa is coming together, and within few years, Africa will come up with a kind of synergy, technology, union, and oneness that will form a major threat to Europe and the Americas.
I sincerely look forward to this. So coming to your association, Women's International in Shipping and Trading Association, take us through what you're doing about mentorship, what you're doing about sensitizing the young women to come into the maritime industry.
WISTA Nigeria, WISTA is an international association of professional women in the maritime and trading industry. WISTA is in Nigeria, it's about bridging the gap, gender gap, at the leadership level. And when I mean bridging the gender gap, there are many women in the port industry, there are many women in Shippers Council in Nemasa, but what are their levels? We are concerned with leadership at decision-making level.
Yes.
Decision-making level, because when women are not involved in decision-making, that organization is not heading up. It is barely average. Therefore, WISTA is about making efforts to bridge the gap, the gender gap, at the decision-making level in the maritime industry. And how do we do this? We do this through visibility, making our presence felt, training, building capacity. It's not about, I'm a woman, I should be at the board, I'm a woman, I should be at the decision-making body. It is competence. We have to build competence to be able to measure, and if not at par, better than.
Are you saying that women don't have enough skills or training to be able to hold these leadership positions? Women
have the skill and the capacity and the competence to be at that level, but you must know that maritime industry have over decades and centuries been dominated by men. It is not until maybe the 70s that we started having trickles of women in the industry. Yes, I remember my experience, even though I entered the industry in the 80s, mid-80s. At that top level, I was still one or two women in the management meetings. So women are new in the industry at the upper level, and that is why we are talking about bridging that gender gap, because women have unique competencies and unique capacities and perspectives that we take industries forward and upward and grow industries. So if you have only men, they are limited to their own perspective, but if you bring the women in, they bring this female gender perspective, the equity, and also take care, because there are areas that men don't think about, that women will bring their own perspective, and there will be a balance, and this will produce growth for the industry, for the company, for the organization.
You are experienced in the maritime industry, and you are the president of the Women
International Shipping and Trade.
So what specifics do you want women to be doing now, as in they are watching now? What should we be doing now? What conversations should we be having now to enable us bridge this gap you're talking about?
First and foremost, I will encourage women to be focused, not to be distracted with mundane issues, to be focused on the industry and what they want to do in the industry, the impact they want to make in the industry. Focus on training, self-training, capacity building. WISTA is also doing this. We empower women to go on training. WISTA International, in association with international shipbrokers, they offer scholarships to women in the industry to go and study. The GIMI in Israel, they offer scholarships with IMO for women. WISTA are beneficiaries, members are beneficiaries of this capacity building in maritime security, in port management, in shipping management. These are the areas where WISTA has been able to impact and bring up women. We also offer mentorship programs. We visit schools, expose them to the opportunities that are available in the industry.
And you agree that we should add this to our curriculum, even from maybe the secondary schools?
Of course. Most women that are in the industry never knew about the industry until they came out of the universities. But if this should be inculcated in the curriculum of the secondary and even primary schools, children, by the time they enter secondary school, they will start having clearer picture of the area of the industry they want to enter into. By the time they come out of the university, they are almost professional in their pursuits. Yes, and the industry is growing in leaps and bounds, and the sky is no longer the limit. So women really have opportunities in the industry now. And IMO is also encouraging with the gender equity, to embrace gender equity and to give women the opportunity to grow in the industry.
I must thank you most kindly for your thoughts, and I look forward to where women will be able to take their place in the industry. It's been Eunice Ezeoke. She is the president of Women's International Shipping and Trade Association. She is also a maritime consultant. I must thank you for your time on the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
This is Africa. I bet you've heard a lot about it. But this is what you need to know. It's the home of the youngest and fastest growing population in the world. This, my friend, is opportunity right here. This is the future, and everyone wants Africa's attention. You need a voice that's African, young, conversational, a platform with the potential to reach millions of people across the continent with content they can relate to, such as lifestyle shows, sports and news, just the way they love it. Imagine all the people you could be talking to on News Central TV. Well, don't just think about it. Contact us for sponsorship and advert bookings. Put your brand where Africa is watching. It's News Central TV.
And that's our show this week. Every week, join us on Maritime Radar as we explore factors that will ensure the development of the maritime sector in Africa. You can also expect the latest in global maritime news and industry insights right here. I'm Nneoma Obi-Asualo. Many thanks for your time.